Hello. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my talk on the observational study of simultaneous and sequential interaction in co-located collaboration. My name is Shuo Niu. I'm a PhD student at Virginia Tech, and my advisor is our second author, Dr. McCrickard, and we also have a co-author, Professor Steve Harrison. So this session is about multi-touch display. So I think we should start with what are actually the multi-touch devices. In early ages, the multi-touch looks like something like this. You're gonna have to wear gloves and touch the display to generate one touch point, and you can draw something or write something down. And later on, people think using a glove is not so always convenient, right? So they add some tangible devices like a pen that the user can use a pen to actually write things. And in a collaborative scenario, they can pass a pen between each other to actually write on the things. But those types of interaction are still sort of they're only one touch point, and then people can have to take turns to use those type of devices. With the advancement of the touch display technologies, nowadays most of the technologies are somewhat look like this. It's already kind of prevalent in people's life. Like the wall-side display, multiple users can stand side by side and interact with the display at the same time. Or the tabletop configurations, the user can stand on different sides of the table or the same size of the table, working on different things or the same things at the same time, like playing a digital piano or something. So the multi-touch devices now can, as far as I know, the most advanced one can sense up to 100 touch points. That was quite amazing. And multiple users can stand around the table and interact at the same time. So everybody has 10 fingers. If everybody puts their hands on the display, it can still allow 10 people to interact at the same time, unless somebody wants to use your nose to touch the display. That's sorry. But one basic question is, why we need so many touch points? Do we want the multiple user work at the same time on different things side by side? Or do we want the multiple users touch on the same thing, to fight against each other, fighting for one thing and try to moving it? Or user doesn't care about this. They're gonna stand, they're gonna look at others' interaction, and somebody touch the display, they're gonna take turns to access the display. So to investigate these questions, we performed an observation on collaboration with large multi-touch display. So we invite people to do a collaborative ideation task with our multi-touch display. And we ask them to design a technology solutions for kids with our device. The material or the artifact we provide them are the digital design cards. So some of the cards tell them what kind of problems that the kids are generally have, and also the emotional or physically beneficial activities the kids are usually perform, like dancing or running. That's kind of good for the children. And also the technologies they might use in their design, like a tablet or phones or a Fitbit or even like the VR stuff. So we provided them those kinds of technology solutions. And we invite 10 groups of 2 or 3 college students who from a HCI class to do the ideation task with around the multi-touch display. So we provided them a large 100 different design cards of those 3 categories, and we observed their simultaneous and sequential interaction during their ideation task. The devices we're using is called a Perceptive Pixel from Microsoft. It is a 55-inch multi-touch display, but we didn't put it like this. We will put it on tabletop, and it can actually sense 100 simultaneous touch points. Trust me, it's a very accurate and very good device. So it's the finger tracking is very accurate. It kind of, when you move something, you almost follow your finger. So, and we identify 4 collaboration factors that kind of guide our observations that is derived from the workspace awareness from Dr. Carl Godwin. The first one points to the social aspect. We look into the coupling style. So in most of the collaborative tasks, like doing the design or ideation, we think about how sometimes people have to work individually. Sometimes they have a heated talk, and they need to have a intensive communication with each other, and while they are interacting with the things on the table. And the second factor is from the time perspective. It's more about interaction stage. So from the early understanding to the final design. So we look from the time perspective as well. And the third one is from the space perspective. It is called territoriality. This is a terminology that's proposed by Stacy Scott, and so we look into how people's simultaneous sequential interactions in their private space versus the shared space. And the last one is we're looking into their interaction part, which is semantic actions. So we see how they perform those two types of interactions with the digital objects. During our video, and later on we do a video analysis on the simultaneous interactions, simultaneous and sequential interactions within within those each of the factors, and we also recognize identify several for each factors we recognize subcategories that kind of falls into each factors. Like for coupling style, we're looking into their closely coupled, loosely coupled, and closely coupled. So we use the verbal communication as a key factor to tell whether the collaborators are collaborative loosely or closely. So if they have intensive talk, we think they are doing the close coupled collaboration. But if they are working here without intensive communication, we think they are collaborating loosely. And for interaction stage, we divide all the tasks into 3 stages, that's kind of corresponding to the 3 design stages. So for browsing is more like brainstorming the idea, think about different possibilities. And organization specifically, organization is a kind of connected things, trying to compare things and making things into a structure. And the specification is more like the finalization of the design to try to clean up their idea, remove useless things, and maybe make some fix on their current design. And for territorialities, we try to segment the screen space into the personal territory and group territory. So for the personal territory, all the cars can belong to the users. No other collaborators are touching the cars. But for group territories, there are the several cars that's kind of being contributed from different collaborators. And for semantic interactions, we use 5 different we sort of observed on 5 different semantic actions. So emphasizing is when the user zoom in the card, so the cars can zoom in, and or the pointing to the cars. Sorting is a layout of cars and think about, try to compare them, think about the best one, and pick the best one, and finally maybe recommend the cars to others. And grouping is more like if they find similar things or related things, they want to put them together. It's a kind of grouping the card into one pile. And linking is like they have, or devices have a drawing capability, so they draw lines and connecting different cars and make a sort of a connected graph. And deleting is when it's like when they think something is useless, or they think this one is kind of conflicting with others, they might remove that from their current plan. So they perform those types of semantic actions. And here is our result. For the coupling style, we notice that when people are loosely coupled, when they don't intensely talk to each other, most of the interactions are simultaneous. So they touch the display, use the cars at the same time. But when they have a close relationship between each other, when they have an intensive talk, they usually try to access in turns. So they negotiate the order of using making changes to the artifact on the table. And for interaction stage, as a brainstorming stage, which is a browsing stage, they do more simultaneous interactions. So they try to browse different things at the same time. But when the design comes to a finalized or more getting more and more clear, they are trying to do the simultaneous interaction in the organization specification stage. So there is a significant difference. And for territoriality, in personal space, you always prefer to have a simultaneous access to space. For the space that's kind of in front of them, or the cars that belong to them, they always want, even others are interacting with the display or making changes, still want the personal space being available to them, so they prefer simultaneous interactions. But for the shared space, for the part that's kind of contributed by different sides of the different party of different collaborators, they always take turns to access it. And for interaction stage, we know for interaction. So interaction for semantic actions, I put it all here. So most of the actions are kind of performed sequentially. So only the sorting action, which is the layout of things, trying to compare different possibilities, they're doing it in a simultaneous way. Otherwise, most of the actions, like emphasizing of things, they don't try to access the display when other people are performing those type of actions. So there's a statistical difference. So conclusion, falls into the four types of factors we observe for collaboration styles. So when people are working together, people trying to take turns. And when they work individually, people prefer simultaneous interactions. For interaction stages, the early stage, which is the brainstorming stage, we should let those types of large multi-touch devices support simultaneous interactions. But when the design becomes more clear and to the final stage, we should provide the designs that allow people to better take turns, like letting each other know whose turn it is. For territorialities, we recommend always make the personal space simultaneously accessible to different users. But for shared space, like if we know this part of things belongs to everybody, we still kind of similar to this one, provide a sequential access to the to let people make changes. For semantic interactions, the simultaneous interactions are more lies in the sorting. So if they for those types of actions, people prefer to do a simultaneous interaction, but most of them are still the sequential. So the sequential interaction is still the dominant interaction type, even though those large multi-touch devices can afford 100 simultaneous touch points. But what actually make us think about this is whether the simultaneous capabilities are useful or not. Do we need better or different support for simultaneous actions? Is that because people don't have higher awareness to other activity, so they have to stop their current actions and looking at what others are doing, so therefore they don't touch the display at the same time? So those questions are actually leads to my second presentation, which is the end. So stay here, don't leave, you will know the answer. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, that's really interesting work. Effectively what you're trying to do, I think, is emulate what happens on an ordinary table. Is that right?
It's ordinary way.
An ordinary table. Is it people working around this table?
It's a touch display.
I know, but the sort of work you're trying to do is the same as people would have traditionally done on an just a simple table with things. Did you think about doing a parallel study of people working on an ordinary table and seeing if their performance was the same or different? Because I think that a lot of the things that you recognise, which I think you need to know, are just the normal constructs of how we work together.
Yes, it's a very good question. So actually, the reason why we choose a digital table is kind of we are trying to working towards like providing some widgets or views that actually support their understanding to each other, understanding to situations that make them being able to do different activities on the table. So I think like if we let's say we have that's actually we're gonna talk about this in our next paper. It's like when we have a video cues or something that kind of supports the simultaneous or the turn taking during the collaboration, that will be something that relates to the design of digital table. So this was kind of like a initial study that we kind of look into we try to see how people perform the activities with a multi-touch display. Frankly, if it is it's a very good suggestion that if we kind of compare it with the physical ones, it might be some difference. But I think mostly if we think forward about the digitalness of the table, I think like the multi-touch devices can kind of support or go better.
Because I wondered whether, in fact, you're trying to put intelligence into a system that it
Right.
doesn't actually need, because all of that communication is done just with body language and those sorts of things.
You mean?
Like if we're sharing a physical table, we use body language and verbal clues to
Yes,
know whose space is where, and you know whether it's turn taking or not.
Well, I would argue with that. It's because when people stand on the different sides of the table and you're working on your things, I'm working on my things. How do you know that what I'm thinking about? How do you know that what I'm trying to move around, or what kind of things that I'm trying to design? I think there are a lot of possibilities that kind of we communicate or interact with. Well, not only with person to person or the artifact itself, we can still communicate through the computer, through the multi-touch display. So even though kind of different from the distributed collaboration, this is like the co-located situation. We can see each other, talk to each other, but I think for certain scenarios, if we can want to collaborate better, the higher awareness to the things that happens on the table will kind of contribute to the benefit, to the effectiveness of the collaboration.
I think it varies.